We've been going back and forth, try to do it live, in person, but life is a little crazy sometimes. I got Joey Ivie, formerly of University of Florida, a couple NFL teams in the USFL, and honestly, just one of the cooler guys I've been able to talk to over the past couple weeks. Joey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So starting it off, kind of getting back to where it all started. I think we've talked in circles about this, but let everyone know kind of a legendary group of guys you played with at University of Florida and whatnot before, after, and during. How was that experience like for you?
Man, it was quite the experience. A little bit about me growing up in a small town outside of Tampa, Florida, um, and then going to a big university like the University of Florida was when I first got there was just kind of like just eye opening to the real world, right? You just get to it's just a different experience and a good experience, um, and you know, getting to be on that Gator team with the guys that I played with, like you mentioned. There's just really no words that can describe it because when I think about it, I mean, it wasn't just about like how great they were. It was just like those were my like, we were all brothers. Like that's how it felt. It was that um, just the locker rooms and the guys you worked. I mean, you were a military guy, so you understand it. But guys that you shed a lot of sweat and blood, tears with, like obviously it's not the same thing as the military, but it's just that locker room vibe where you're just spending so much time with each other, and it's just on a whole nother level. It just becomes a family. So, um, it when you get to experience that, and then on top of it, being a part of like this legendary Gator team defense, being with some legendary players, it was just such an awesome experience. Definitely um, has prepared me for life. Leaving football or college, that's for sure.
Well, it starts probably when you were a freshman, right? Because I think Dexter Fowler was there as
Dante. Yep.
Sorry, Fowler. Dexter Fowler plays baseball, and it's just seeing guys like that. Like he got drafted, what, 2-3 years before you? I'm assuming.
Mm,
Does that sound right?
yeah, he got drafted after my sophomore year.
So
Yeah.
when you
So
see
he
a
got
guy,
drafted 2015.
so when you see a guy like that, it kind of puts the whole. Obviously, Florida
Mhm.
is on notice to begin with, but to see it in your, it's compared to the military a little bit. You have your unit, and then you have your squad. The defensive line is essentially your
Yeah.
squad.
Dante was my roommate for a little bit, and he
Okay.
was my friend from high school. We played against each other in high school. My high school team won, but but yeah, I've known Dante for a long time. I know his parents. You know, Dante's a quite a funny guy. He was a really good teammate. But yeah, there was a lot of pressure, I would say, especially playing D line when you see all these people going first round. You got your Dominic Easleys, your Sharif
Yeah.
Floyds, you know, your Jonathan Bullards, and all these guys. Even the guy I played next to, Caleb Brantley, who was supposed to go first round, and I thought I was going to go third round, but got humbled real quick. Ended up going seventh round. That's life, if I do wish that I would have been able to get another year at Florida, like a fifth year,
Yeah.
another year to get my body right. I think I was a very late bloomer mentally for football because I didn't start playing until high school.
Yeah.
So I had an amazing head coach, and I loved my position coach in high school, but they weren't like most high school D-line coaches weren't high level coaches. It's more like see ball, get ball, hit the gap, run, pass. But football is just so much more detailed than that, right? There's just so much technique, and there's just so much that goes into it. So my first year going into college, it was like my head was spinning, right? There was just so much going on. And I ended up my junior year getting a coach named Chris Rump, who I'm still called him the Rump Shaker. Well, I'm still really close with to this day. I haven't spoken to him in a while, But he changed the game for me. Gave me that confidence, made me realize I was a lot better than I thought I was because I started losing a little confidence. I think my sophomore year, even though I was playing a lot, I mean, I was starting at in games my sophomore year, but you know, I think what they say, comparison is a thief of joy, right?
It's something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And that is absolutely the truth, right? So I would say a key to really becoming your true best self, especially in sports, is just focusing on yourself. One, there is no one like you. You have certain things that you need to do differently than other people. Just because it works for one guy doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So, and there's similar players, but there's just such a learning curve, right? That I was a late bloomer on, and yeah, I feel like if I would have got more time in college, it would have helped a lot. But that was just my journey, right? God intended for my life to go this way. So that's I don't want to live in regret, right? But what I can say is now with this knowledge and with technology and everything now, more it's just so much easier to help younger guys, especially guys getting into college that want to make it to the next level. But everyone thinks they're gonna make it to the next level, right? I mean, everyone goes to college with the dream to make it to the next level. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you, that wasn't even my thought when I got to college. I just was thinking about playing at Florida. Like, I mean, in high school, I wasn't even thinking about going to college, right? Like, I was the type of guy that after my junior year, me and my dad made a highlight tape together. It wasn't huddle. We burned CDs
Yep.
and we sent our highlight tape to a recruiter. What was it? Signed preps. I can't remember. Onside preps, right in Tampa, Florida. Ricky Saylor, that's the guy who ran the organization, and sent the highlight tape out. And I think probably a week later, I get my first scholarship, and then within the next few months, it's 30 schools like Alabama are at my practice, and it was out of nowhere, man. I promise you,
Yep.
I did not realize I was that good of a player until you know, and people had always kind of hinted towards me, like, you got ability, you're big, you're very fast, like, um, but I didn't come from a big football family. Like my
Yeah.
dad didn't play because he got headaches playing. I came from a military family, right? My dad was in the army, my mom was a Marine, like, and then oddly, they both met, not oddly, but they both met in art school when they got done. So I came from like an artistic military family, and I played all kinds of sports growing up, but football was just the last one I decided to play. But thank God I ended up playing it because it ended up being just quite like an amazing journey. Even though it didn't go the way I wanted to go. Looking back, it was still um, a blessing to experience it. You know, and if I have a son and he ends up playing football and he has the ability to be a star, I'll be able to give him books worth of knowledge to not make the same mistakes that most guys make when they go, right? So,
D- Did you feel like, and you kind of hinted on it a little bit with a lot of high school athletes, that when you have that natural ability, the coaches are so afraid to coach you that it's just kind of like, we don't, he's doing what he's doing, he's doing well. Let's not mess with the formula, because sometimes they don't want to kind of mess with what, like the recipe is good. Like mess it up a little bit.
um, it's a good question. So, I have a different philosophy on that. So, or something, my philosophy is very similar to that. So, a lot of times coaches want to, and I get it because you don't have time to coach everyone up individually, but there are certain moves, and especially in the pass rush, that work for certain players. Now the run game's different because the run technique is just run technique, right? Like
Yeah.
tight hands, your footwork, how to react. Um, I mean, you can't really change that when it comes to coaching, but when it comes to the pass rush side of the ball, you're going to have guys who are longer guys that are long bar guys. You're going to have guys that are shorter guys that are power guys. You're going to have guys that are in between. You're going to have guys that are just very twitchy and can get on somebody's hip, like outside their, that can work outside of their shoulder. Just every guy is different. So a coach. I loved the coaches that could work within the group of uh, what their best moves are, right? And finding two of those best moves and having a counter or two counters to go with those, right? And maybe breaking out another move during the season and changing up and then learning how to run games. There's just so much that goes in the D line. And it's really just buying in. So in college, right? It's different because everyone has to buy in because he's going to decide if you're playing or not. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a first round pick or not. I mean, um, actually, I take that back. It does matter because they want to win games, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the SEC. Unless you're just not a good dude. And but you know, once you get to the NFL, players kind of do, especially if you're a guy that's proven himself, they kind of do what they want to do, right? You'll have a coach that'll try to coach you up a certain way, but players have to say if they don't want to do it, they're like, "Look, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it my way. It's brought me this way." So coaches kind of have to listen to players at that level, but it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, if they found a formula for success, why would a coach try to change it? What the coach should always do is fine tune it, right? Find ways to make that formula perfect. And I'm a fan of that, right? Like that. If I was a coach, which I feel like I'd be a great coach, but that's just such a sacrifice that I don't think that I just don't think it's for me, especially maybe not right now, but maybe later on. I definitely miss ball, but when it comes to, like I was saying, when it comes to coaching, it's just like um, fine tuning. It could be the difference in hitting the quarterback and getting a sack, right? Swiping at a quarterback's foot and missing him by an inch, and like swiping his foot and he's tripping and you get a sack. So it's like it's a game of inches. It really is in every single aspect. So um, it's definitely made me understand, especially even though life after football can be very overwhelming, right? Because it's different, right? But we are given tools and building blocks that we can apply in the real world. Um, but it's just your mentality, like if and it's learning to be. And everyone has heard this phrase. Every I don't care what team you were on, what football team, if you D1, D2, D3, if your coach didn't tell you to be comfortable being uncomfortable, he wasn't doing he wasn't doing it right because that's the number one to me. Like that is the phrase that you have to live by, right? Because I mean, how can you get better in anything if you're never trying to get comfortable in a situation being uncomfortable? It's like, if you're only comfortable, if you try to stay comfortable your entire life, you can just sit on your couch and watch TV, right, for the rest of your life, right?
Pretty
Like it's,
much.
I have no other way to explain it. But
Did
sorry, I
you?
was just going on
No,
rambling.
you're good. Do you feel like with that, kind of that mentality where some coaches are not really coaching but fine tuning, that it kind of falls on more of the players and the men in the room? Like you got a guy like Dominique pass it
Easy.
to Fowler, and then Fowler passed it to
So
you and Caleb, and then you probably passed it to Taven.
so it's a little different. So what I meant on that was like older guys, right? Like junior, senior year guys that have already gone through, the coaching. So guys coming in from high school, unless they played at like some crazy private high school where they were getting, so a lot of times nowadays, especially like Florida, big school like Texas, Georgia, you got coaches that were NFL guys or retired NFL college coaches that are coaching at a high school, right? So though you can get lucky and get that kind of coaching and be very, you know, um, uh, just on another level coming in. But those first 2 years are so important to me. I feel like when it comes to a coach, you know, evaluating his player and teaching him football at a detailed level because I don't think one person I came in with as a freshman didn't have some type of technical or issue that they didn't need to work on. Now you have guys that come in and they're just freak of nature. They're just a freak of nature. Like they might be freakishly strong or fast, so they can get away with it, right? They can get away with poor technique because um, God gave them freak, superhero abilities, right? But the best ones in the league are the ones that have those abilities are the coached absolutely the best, have the best technique, and are the hardest workers in the room. Like those three right there, that is the formula to like $100 million guy in the league right now, especially on the D line. And I played with a bunch of them. I mean,
Yeah.
Chris Jones is one of my good friends. Um, Dante got paid. Which I think I'll just go through. Let's see,
Yeah, do it.
Frank Clark. I mean, look at
Drop the
yeah,
names,
Frank Clark.
man.
I mean, that guy. I mean, I'm telling you, he works. He with his shoulder jacked up. I mean, it was incredible to see him. Like, if you go back and watch him in the Super Bowl, his shoulder is like this, and he's
Yeah.
still giving it. Like, I mean, his all. I mean, if someone was paying me as much as they were, paying him, I'd probably play with 5 broken fingers, or I'd have a broken arm out there. But, but no, but to his personality though, he works his tail off, and I'd say Demarcus Lawrence, same thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that guy. I mean, it was just incredible, like to see how hard he worked. Like, I'm just naming guys that have that. They have freakishly good talent, but they were able to get. They're coached very well, and they are just insanely hard workers. Now, one of the most important things I didn't mention is just the football IQ, right? Like you can, I'm not going to name the players, but there's quite a bit of players I know I played with, a couple still in the league. That's kind of hard to believe sometimes, but and I'm not hating. I'm
No,
just I'm being completely real. Like football is, it's a mental game. Like, I mean, some people just don't get, like, there's, I had a ton of flaws. Like, yeah, I'll put shade on myself. I wasn't, I was more of a run stopper in college, but I had a jacked up knee, so I knew I had to be more of a pass rusher. Then I really fell into my groove and felt like I was a good pass rusher, but I wasn't playing the run as well. And then, times I felt great at both, and his body was just beat up, inconsistent. And then you get, for a guy like me, like a journeyman at that point, you get labeled as a journeyman, right? So you're not gonna get those kind of opportunities, even if you're crushing it at practice or getting a game. You have this label behind you, so it's like you fall in this hole and it's really hard to get out. Even though I was able to stay in 4 years, best scenario for me would have been, if I would have, with the Cowboys, I'd say never played in those first preseason games and just sat out during camp and tried to get healthy, and tried to use a development year in the league, right? Because I had enough hype behind me from college to I mean, where teams will give me a development league, chance for a year, and then go out that second year and really put some tape out there. Because what I would the biggest thing is, for young guys coming in first year in the league, um, you fuck up that tape, I mean, you're done. I mean, unless you were a top draft pick, or you went to a big school and you had insane film in college, the team might pick you up on P squad to give you a shot. But you know, your preseason tape is so important. And then there's this false, like, people believe that when they and we touched. I'll kind of touch on, Pat, how you wanted me to mention how, I went seventh round, and would have been better to go a free agent. Now, for no sign-in bonus, I would say absolutely giving up my sign-in bonus to go free agent would have been ideal, because then I would have got to pick, a spot. Maybe there was some veterans that were banged up, or they needed more depth on the D line, and the coach wasn't. Hard. I mean, no knock on Rob Marinelli. That guy's a great guy, great coach. He's a legend, but he's an old school coach. Guys can't keep up with. I mean, and, there's guys that probably hate me for saying this because they're freaks and their bodies can handle it. But guys like me and most of the guys that Rob Marinelli coached, they can't. Their bodies can't handle it. I mean, it's borderline like. It's. I don't even want to say. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's. I
It's
mean, we're
it's boot camp.
it's
It's
it
boot. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm getting better. I feel like my body's
Recovering. Yeah.
destroyed, and I'm spending my whole time recovering instead of, I mean, you can ask anyone about this guy. It was the hardest thing I experienced in my entire life. Like, I mean, I was on so many teams, and nothing compared to Rob Marinelli during training camp. I mean, it was the hardest crap. I mean, I have a buddy right now that I play with named Jordan Carroll. We still talk to this day about it. I mean, it was the hardest shit I've gone through. Like, So, where was I at before that?
as far as picking your team and
Right, right.
whatnot. Yeah, because
So,
I think in that my opinion, like I bet you got a euphoric, like a dopamine boost seeing your name and getting the phone call like on
right.
the on the
That's
thing.
so that was a blessing, right? Like that's something
It's
I'll
cool.
always
Yeah,
be able to say that I got drafted, which is cool. But it would have been cooler if I was on a team where I had a legitimate more. It just was a better fit, and it was, which I'm not saying the Cowboys is a bad fit. It just, for my body and genetics, it just wasn't like I could not handle it, right? And you can call me, people, field players will call you a wimp or whatever they want to call you, but I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm not going to be sit there and be a pillhead and take pills because my entire career and I'm not trying to get morbid or anything, but that's the truth about it. Is the league, I mean, with sports, they expect you to just, oh no, let's jack you up with a shot. Oh no, let's give you some these painkillers for every single thing, every single day, so your entire career. Like, I just want. I mean, I was, I was heavy taking ibuprofen, Tylenol, leave, but like I just wasn't about being that guy that's just constantly doped up, right? Just and by so what? So by the time you're done, even if you made a lot of money, you can't walk, you can't hold your kids. I mean, there's some serious shit that goes down the league that people don't talk about.
yeah.
Now, you know, but guys like younger guys that don't get drafted. Sometimes it's the greatest thing because if you have like three teams that want to pick you up, you get to pick. You get to choose. You get to choose. Now, going back to my point, and the most important thing in my opinion, uh, it doesn't matter what the roster's like if you're undrafted, right? It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who's in front of you. Like, in your head, you should say, F that. I'm going here to prove myself, not not really to this team, to myself, right? That I can do this, and I can prove to my teammates and my coaches that I belong in the NFL, whether that's here or one of the 31 teams. And I'm going to get better through training camp, and I'm going to prepare myself through OTAs, mini camp, you know, you know, what is it? Forgot what the mandatory mini camp. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
Mandatory mini camp. In the regular training camp, I'm gonna prove to myself that I belong in the league. And by doing that, by proving yourself, and not worrying about the roster you're on, you're going to put out great film in preseason, and that's all that matters because you are interviewing for 32 teams, the team you're on, and 31 others. If they cut you and you ball out there in preseason and you are a freshman, a team is going to pick you up, and you are most likely, if you had a really preseason, going to be active, right?
which is what happened. Which is what happened to you. Essentially, you played for what,
I played
like
for a bunch of teams,
yeah,
yeah.
like a quarter of the league or something like that.
Well, 17. Wait, no, I guess you could count because I mean, the end of my career was screwed up, right? The Colts, Seattle, Chiefs 2 years, Titans, Browns,
Atlanta.
yeah, and Browns. The Browns wasn't my favorite organization either, to be honest with you, because
Yeah, but get in line for that. I think.
right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just felt like my coach just didn't like me. Like, I felt like he wasn't. I'd be active, and my coach just wouldn't play me. And like, that's cool and all. You don't have to like me, but you're screwing me and you're screwing my family because like I need the film, right? I need the film so I can provide for my family. Like, P Squad money is not worth to me. It's I mean it's better than what most people make, but it's for what you put in and sacrifice. It's not worth it. Like, I mean, so like when I was there with the Browns, it's just I didn't get that film. Then the Colts picked me up, and after the first preseason, I get a sack, I get a TFL, and I'm actually I'm playing good, and I feel like I can actually kind of come into myself, like come like and like I can. I felt like I was starting to come into my like true self. Like I felt healthy. Man, he just said some shady stuff to my agent, man. Like it didn't feel. I've never experienced anything like that, and I don't care about the guy. I would look. I'd rather work at McDonald's than work with that guy. Like I'm
Yeah.
telling you that's how much I dislike that that guy.
Was that a cut day or like were you a
No,
part?
no,
That
nope.
was like
Well,
before,
I
like
guess it was after the first preseason game,
yeah,
and then the Bills picked me up, and they claimed me, and I was supposed to play in that first preseason game, and the only reason they claimed me is because the guy was sick with COVID, and they just So how it works is like I got in which I was super excited with the Bills. Like I love I loved the coaches there. I mean that organization is incredible, right? And I'm there for like 2 days, and I'm saying that like it just it was cool. It was awesome to just even be in those doors, and you know I'm there, and I'm only reason I'm there is because they had a guy who had COVID, and I wanted to get they were wanted to play me in that first preseason game, and obviously if I did good in the preseason game, they'd probably keep me around for the rest of preseason at least. But the guy ended up coming back. I guess it was a false positive, and they
Yeah.
ended up releasing me. But see, this is the thing: the GM and the head coach both pulled me in the office and told me like, "We're sorry," right? Like they were respectful and they were men about it, and that's where I ended my career. But I'm fine with that because you know they they had they had the respect for me to pull me in the office and say, "Hey, look, we made a mistake. This guy came back. It was a false positive."
Yeah.
And boom, business is done. That's cool. But the way the Colts did business, it was like your chopped liver. Bye. You're just you're scum under my shoe. Boom. And that's not how you should treat your players, right? I get the organization, gets a business, right? But the NFL should be held to a higher standard. And I don't like how he handles his business with the Colts, right? I mean, dude, if you're a real man, you know, cut your have your head coach or have your GM, cut your players. Don't get your little rat little scout come creep over and say, "Hey, man, we gotta let you go." Gotta get your bags. It's just the way I just don't like how they conduct business. Honestly, it just didn't seem super professional. I get these guys are all busy, but you know, and maybe I sound like an idiot right now, and maybe I'm just a little salty, but and I'm just being real. Look, I mean,
Yeah.
this is me. This is my personality. I'm an open book, and I've experienced a lot of stuff in ball, and I've gone through a lot of shit that I can help people go through similar situations, and through good, through bad, through ugly. And look, I ended my career at the USFL, and I kept that very under the table. I didn't tell anyone I was playing the USFL, and it was the most fun I'd ever had in my life since college. Right? I mean, that was the best closure I could have ever asked for because I had guys that were, I mean, I loved these guys because that's what football is all about. They were, I mean, these guys loved the game so much that, I mean, some of these guys, it's their third spring ball, right? They've been doing it forever trying to get in the league, and most of these guys aren't going to make it. So you gonna feel bad for them because you don't make much playing in the spring leagues. It's not like the USFL back in the day when they're trying to compete with NFL.
Yeah. Reggie
Right,
White contracts. Yeah.
right, right. So
How did
um,
that whole thing? Yeah, because it seemed kind of random, Because I remember, like, when I think of you, I think of you from the Titans, obviously, and we've talked about that offline, but it just kind of seemed like one day on Twitter I saw your name and I was like, oh, I thought this dude was like, I knew you were bouncing around and stuff like that. It just randomly popped up like Houston Gamblers, Joey Ivie.
yeah, so they called me twice if I was still interested in playing, and I told Pat this. Funny story is, I love my agent, right, David Cantor. Like he's my friend, and Ness Nagrabi is one of my like really close friends, and but I just don't like how and it's different because the way they looked at it was like you got a young family, football might not work out, you should probably figure out like Plan B, right? But thinking that, I just was like, all right, I'm done. Like I stopped working out, I stopped running. I'm like, all right. And you fall into almost like a little depression, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like it's like someone takes something, your prized possession away from you that you love so much. And you're on the top of this hill and all of a sudden you fall to the bottom and having to climb back up. A never ending hill, by the way. And and so I told the USFL, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play. And then is it I can't remember the name of the guy who called me.
Is it Rob Morris? He's the GM now.
No, I know Rob. I always think of this. I always say Pugh, but that is just a completely different person. Jacob Pugh is a guy that played at Florida State that I know from back home. Bellamy, David Bellamy. I'm sorry, went to Georgia.
Yeah, Davin Bellamy.
Davin Bellamy, yeah,
Yeah.
Davin.
He played on like the Breakers or something. I think.
Yeah, he randomly calls me. He's like, "You gotta come out here, man. Like, I'm telling you, you're kidding yourself if you think that your career is over. You need to come get some film." and man, he should sign up for insurance sales because he would the shit out of me. No, but it was the best. I'm honestly, I'm so happy he did because I went out there and my first 2 weeks there, I'm like, holy crap, I'm gonna leave. Like, what am I doing here? Like, this is just going from the NFL to like a spring league after 4 years, like super humbling. And then man, I just bought in. I loved my coach, loved my position coach, loved the D linemen, loved the linebackers, like everybody. Everybody just had this funny, awesome personality, and we were going out to eat. It's just that brotherhood. And I told you about how I told them I was gonna be out of shape. So I got there. I did 2 practices after like 10 months of not working out, and running, and I played in a game. 2 practices playing the game. I actually did pretty good because my technique let me get away with it. Right, I
Yeah.
got technique that'll probably stick with me till I'm 80. Still doing hand drills in the elevator
Yeah.
because I can't take the stairs anymore. But yeah. So I mean, look, I got a big heart for guys that are working their butt off trying to make it to the next level because I know how hard it is. And I don't know if you're able to edit some of this stuff out, but I don't know. Are you able to edit stuff out, by the way?
I'll figure it out. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
figure it out.
you don't have to, but you know,
I mean,
whatever. You just
did
keep
it?
it all, man. I mean,
Yeah,
look, just
screw it,
keep
right? Did it
whatever.
make you kind of like appreciate your? I feel like it makes you appreciate your journey a little bit more because I'm sure like some days you look back on it, and I don't want to throw shade at any of these guys because I love everyone who's playing football. Obviously, most people at least wish nothing but best. But you're like, maybe it didn't work out by like my standards, but
Right.
kind of being a little hypocritical here, like comparison bias or whatnot. You're like, I had a career a lot of these guys would have killed for.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's funny that was the best part about the USFL was like as down as I was at some point about not getting to that, my big goal was to obviously have a 10-year career, make some good enough money to where you can just you're set. I mean, everyone wants to be set if you're going to play 10 years because
Yeah, should be.
you're probably cutting off 20 of your life anyways. So
Yeah, you don't have to make as much money when you're only going to live till you're
yeah,
50,
it's like
right?
I would
Yeah, yeah, moving the goalposts. Yeah,
oh,
but
golly.
but that's kind of what I think when I see
Yeah,
like like guys like Corey Coleman's in the USFL now, and it's like you get the casual fan who might be like dogging you or whatnot, be like, "Yo, this dude was a bum at Florida and like bum with the Cowboys." I'm like, I mean, the average career is what 3 years, and you got the four, right?
yeah.
You
Well,
vested.
dude, I would do some crazy shit at practice, man. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I would do some stuff, and they're like, "All right, this guy can play." It just couldn't stay consistent, couldn't stay
Yeah,
healthy.
yeah.
And then there just is sometimes like, um, I don't know if I just believe in myself so much where I really know that I really could have been like a really good player in the league, just based on guys I've been around that are Pro Bowlers and have just told me the same thing. It's hard because you got those guys saying, "Look, you got the ability. Like, I mean, look what you're doing. Like, you got the ability, this and that." And then you got guys like GMs that'll tell your agent, "No, he needs to just put his lunch pail on and just be a ball hawk." And now that I'm done, I'll go up and straight up say it, dude. There's like almost like some reverse racism here in the league about you know being a wide D lineman as like the straight up. Oh, he's gonna be a two gapper. He's gonna run. He's gonna be the one that's running across the field. He's never. Oh, the motor, right? The motor. That's what he's gonna have.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
a Dude, I'm
Like,
telling you, I don't care whoever hears this. I mean, that's the truth. Go ask anyone. They're
well, I
afraid
mean,
to
it's like
they're
Cooper.
afraid to say it.
Yeah.
But dude,
Well, it's
Cooper
like
Rush
people are like Cooper Cup
or
is
Cooper
a
Cup,
lot like
yeah.
Wes Welker, and I'm like, no, he actually
No,
plays a little bit more like Anquan Bolt. If anyone ever tells
thank
me,
you, thank you,
yeah,
thank you, thank you, thank
like
you,
he's a
bro.
smaller version of Anquan Bolden, and
Bro,
I tell people that all the time. I was like, if you say that, like, I don't even think you're like doing the race thing or anything. I just think you're incompetent. I don't think you know ball because like people will say like certain things about like and they'll do it. They do it the other way, like, oh, this like this guy he plays like this dude, and I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like
No,
like
it's
it
such
doesn't
bull. It's
matter like
such
what
bull.
yeah,
It's
it
such
doesn't
BS.
matter what
Such
like the
BS.
skin color is. Like I've seen it on
No,
both sides. I've
bro.
seen it on both sides.
I will tell you. I will test to this shit. I'm telling you, since I was 13 years old, man. Like I mean, I am. I've just God gave me ability. Like I've just been a fat since I was a kid. I was just always been really quick, always fast. Like I was beating kids in races as a little kid. I remember like kids say, "Oh, he's probably slow," like white guy, this and that. And it's funny, even though I'm joking around, it's I'm serious. That's how it is. I mean, if you play sports, you get it, especially sports playing on the defense.
Yeah,
And I loved it. I loved every part of it. But I loved proving people wrong. That's why, like, we'd race and like, holy crap, he can run, right?
yeah.
So, and why I mentioned that is like, dude, there were just guys that weren't white guys that I thought I was just like. Like I felt like I had similar abilities to, and I had a quick twitch like them, or my hips felt like they're like how I pass rush was like them. Instead, coaches every time, I'm not joking, man, like would tell you, they pull up film, you could be just like this guy. I think you're like this guy. And they'd show you a white D lineman. And it
Like
blew my,
Kyle, like Kyle Williams.
bro, yes, it blew my fucking mind. Like, I'm just like it became it's a running joke at that point. Now I would say Brendan Daly with the Chiefs that guy's incredible coach, incredible person. He's a linebacker coach now. Loved that guy. Um, you know, he would show me film of guys, didn't matter what their skin color was, that were actually like my ability, right? And say, watch this guy, and that helped, right? And it's just so funny how people like are it's it's like the what do they call it, the elephant in the room, is
Yeah,
that the term? No one wants to talk about it, right? But like it's the truth, like um you know and it can be the opposite way.
because you kind of play a little bit like when Tyson, in my opinion, Tyson Alulo from like you play a little bit like him early in his career. Like now he's a bigger dude, he's older
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. But like there are
I
definitely
was I was
some
more I was more quick twitch. It would turn on, turn off. uh you know Sometimes I'd do some freaky athletic stuff, sometimes I would look, not so athletic. But um I had my times. And then, like, then I played with a guy who played behind me, and he was a really good guy, and he's still in the league, Taven Bryan. He had it all. Like, he had all the ability. I'm hoping he's still crushing it. But it's just so funny I mentioned that, but it's the truth. It is. I can't explain it to you. Every D line I was on will sit here and tell you the same thing. I don't. I mean, some of them might be afraid to say it or admit it because they're still playing or whatever. But that is the stereotype for white D linemen when they're in when you haven't proved yourself. Put on your lunch pail. He's a motor guy. Get to
it's
the ball.
it's so Kyle Williams is a trigger for you then?
No, I love Kyle. That's a compliment from that he's an athlete.
Yeah,
He's a motor. People say, "Oh, he's a motor guy." Yeah, he's a motor guy, but he's also a really good athlete.
yeah. I mean, they line
Dude,
him up at fullback. He plays tight
dude,
end.
it is a hard position to play. Three
Yeah,
tech is one of the hardest. You got to be the biggest athletic guy, and the most athletic guy on the field. You got to be able to bend in certain ways that don't seem possible. You got to be able to hold 700 pounds on you. You got to be able to learn. There's just so much that goes on with that position, and Kyle Williams did it all, right? Like, so I took that as a compliment.
okay. So that Kyle
But
Williams
that
is
that
the
was a that was a compliment. But
who is the trigger for you then?
mm,
I want to know that. I
it
want to know that.
wasn't really the trigger wasn't really the name, calling out a person specifically. It was more, I'll tell you a funny one though. Was God, what was that guy's name with the played with the Vikings? He's a legend. Played DN. He was like 6'8".
Not Jared Allen, right?
Yes, Jared Allen.
Your game,
I'm
your name,
6. I'm 6'3".
your game is nothing like Jared Allen.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're different
Yeah,
completely.
and he played the
That was
edge.
early. That was when I was in college, right? That was super early.
How many
And I
sacks
was
did
an
you?
end.
Well, how many sacks did you have in college though? Like not that not trying to throw shade. Like
No,
not.
no, I don't remember. Probably gotta be under 10.
Yeah, I
Probably gotta
mean
be like
Jared Allen.
7, 8,
I mean
9 or
like
10.
he
Yeah.
was like he could defend the run, but he would also like
Yeah.
The guy came into the league. I think he probably put up 7 sacks his rookie year
They
with the
had me
Chiefs.
play nose tackle almost my whole senior year.
Yeah,
So that I took one for the team on that one. That was another reason why I wish I would have stayed another year because Caleb Brantley was more of an athlete.
yeah,
He's a freak,
yeah.
and I love Caleb. He's a freak, and he got if his foot was so jacked up, that's why he's not in the league anymore. But Caleb would be a top 5 D tackle in the league right now. I
Yeah,
promise you, he's that talented, and that's why I got put demoted to nose. Right, like, and I don't hate it. Nose was fun, but I'm just not. I would have probably, you know what? I could have played nose in the league if I took pride in it. I just never took pride in it. Right? They're like when I thought of nose tackles, I'm like Vince Wilfork, like this big fat guy, like right. Even though Vince is an animal, like
yeah.
I would, I wish I could be like Big Vince, but I didn't take pride in playing those, and I should have. Right, going back, I always had this dream of being this pretty 3 tech, right? This 295 slim, like just coming off the ball, getting sacks. Like that's everyone's dream, right? That
Like you wanted to
position.
be like Chris Jones then.
That's dude, Aaron Donald. Like
Aaron Donald. Yeah, well, Aaron Donald's on his own different level, man. Or I mean, maybe he's
hey,
coming back to earth.
Chris is starting to catch up a little bit though.
Well, yeah, because Aaron's here and Chris is coming up, and they're
Chris
meeting
is
in the middle.
they're starting to meet up.
Yeah.
Look, Chris is different because they're like the complete opposite.
Well, I feel like he's long.
He's
Like I
so
mean,
long.
you've seen him. I'm not sure
Mhm.
if you've seen Aaron in person, but like I've
Yeah, I
seen
have.
Chris
Yeah,
in person, and I didn't realize like to me, like I'm 5'7", but when I see like someone who's 6'3", I'm like, okay, like that's
yeah,
taller than me. But when you get to that 6'6" and like you're long, like I've seen him in person, I'm just kind of like,
yeah, yeah.
dude.
He's Chris is. I lived with Chris for like a little bit. I think when
Yeah,
my lease was up. That's why me and Chris are really good. To this day. We probably for a while we were probably talking like we would catch up every month or so. Still, I don't talk to him as much recently. We both got big families and everything, but
yeah.
definitely my friend for life.
He seems like a cool guy, and he's
He's
getting
just like
paid.
he's just a big old kid, man. He's just
Yeah.
like we'll play video games together. You name it. So
Well, you come up to Missouri, man. I'll make the trip out to KC. We'll bring out the portable mics, man.
yeah, let's do
Just
it.
break out Xbox. I know I play FIFA. I don't. I know we talked about gaming a little bit, but
Yeah.
we'll mess around on that, man. So you are officially retired. Officially. Did you put in the papers?
I mean, no, I kind of. I guess you wouldn't say I'm. I guess you say I'm retired, but I'm more like forced. Like teams just kind of stop calling.
Yeah,
I don't know if I guess yeah, I kind of was forced into retiring from football.
yeah,
I still play right now. Hell yeah, I miss the game so much. But after what I said today, obviously, what I'm pretty down with ball.
yeah. I
Who
mean, we
knows?
can we can hold this for a year. Like it'll age like wine if you want me to.
Whatever you want to do, man. Look, I'm pretty. I don't have much of a filter now. When it comes to maybe political stuff, I hold a lot of that stuff in just because, you know, unfortunately, in today's world, if you did have to get like a corporate job, you want to kind of watch what you say because, um, but yeah, yeah. I'm done. It's too much. It's too the percent of me getting back in is just too low. There's too many young guys that are just as talented, if not way more talented. Kids are just getting better and better. I was on my horse when I was playing, and if I would have never gotten off, stopped working out, right,
Yeah,
I'd probably still have a shot. So, but um, I let I let a GM from the Colts decide my fate. And if I can give anyone advice, don't let somebody else tell you what the fuck you can do. You're the one who can dictate that. You
yeah,
make your own decisions. You work your butt off. If you have a dream, you have a goal, you crush that dream and goal. You don't let somebody else tell you can't do something, right? And that's what right. I'm getting fired up here because that's what
uh,
I did, right? I mean, after getting cut so many times and I got used to getting released. So I was cool. I was cool. I was just like, oh, well, that's just how it goes. But telling my age and stuff, like, just kind of, it made me doubt me continuing to play the league. And that's why I stopped working out and running. And if I give any advice, like these GMs, some of them didn't even play ball. Like, I mean, yeah, they're great at what they do as far as finding the right talent and putting teams together, but they're human. they're gonna make. I mean, there's over and over and over again they looked at a guy and he becomes like the next Pro Bowler. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean these dudes make mistakes left and right, left and right. I mean, don't let some GM's opinion on you like change your mentality, because your mentality should just be getting better every day and focusing on each day. Um, you know, so now that I'm thinking about it, maybe don't uh, say the post. I don't know if you can edit some of the stuff out, because
No,
I'm like,
we're just gonna do it, man.
no. But the reason I say that is because like, dang, what if I end up like wanting to coach in the NFL one day? No one's gonna want to hire me now.
I mean, Chris Ballard would probably be fired because he drafted. And I hate to throw shade at your boy Anthony Richardson, number 3 overall.
I don't know, man. I'm
I mean,
biased because I'm a Gator. I'm a little biased.
he's either going to be the greatest quarterback in
Or he's
that
gonna get
draft
bust. You're right.
or the
That's how it
worst.
goes. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
he's not going to be like an Andy Dalton career
You
where you
know,
look back at Andy Dalton and you're like, yeah, that was an okay career.
see, I've heard nothing but good things about
Oh
him
no,
off
right?
the field, right?
Yeah, I don't, and I
Just
never want to.
being
Yeah,
an excellent guy off the field, and
yeah.
I really think now I'm trying to think of somebody that
I mean,
um,
you had some quarterbacks at Florida that like you're like if you go through your time there was a lot of guys who played in the league. Maybe not finished up at Florida, but I mean, Greer was there, Felipe Franks, Jeff Driscoll. I mean,
um,
you know,
Kyle Trask.
oh yeah, Trask was a freshman there.
Loved him. I played with him. He was with me for 2 years or
Oh, okay,
2 years.
yeah,
Yeah. He was like he redshirted like twice. I
yeah,
wish I could have did that, man. Like look, if I would have had if I had an extra year or two, or got drafted way higher, yeah, I'd probably still be playing.
yeah.
Yeah. But don't look,
Such is life.
again, such is life. Don't look in the past. Like, you're just gonna drive yourself crazy if you just keep looking at things like that. And I'm guilty of it, but we're human, right? Like
Yeah,
you're going to, and you're lying if you say you haven't, because it's no one's perfect, right? That's why I'm a Christian, and Jesus died for our sins on the cross, right? Because we're gonna have jealousy of people's success, and we're gonna envy, right? We're gonna be envious, and you just gotta check yourself, though. It's important.
yeah,
Like, check yourself, like that. That's life, right? Like
yeah.
you know,
And I
just
feel like you do that, man. Like I feel like, it's kind of like sometimes I do the same thing. And I think, I obviously didn't play in the NFL, but we've talked enough offline where it's like, it's kind of weird how you and I are because, sometimes you talk to me about like the military and the contracting stuff. And I feel like you get like, oh, that's cool that you did that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess. And then like,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, dude, you play in the NFL.
Yeah,
Like,
see, I like what you do is like to me. Well,
yeah,
because like that's all my whole. I'm telling you, it's like since I was a kid, and I was just the biggest Call of Duty fan. So I like the whole Navy SEAL, Green Beret, like the whole being a sniper, like that. That to me was like that's what I loved since I was like a kid. Football
yeah,
came into my life when I was like 14, right, which is still a young age. But before that, it was like I was a little kid playing with the little green army.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, it's funny. It's like the opposite, Like I played football as a kid, and then like, I'm a little older than you, but then 9/11 happened. My dad's a New York City fireman. I'm like, well, I guess I have to deal with this now. Like,
Oh man.
I had military family and whatnot, but I was like, it hit home, like literally hit
Yeah.
home. So like, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to join the military when I get old enough. And
There was a kid I knew who's he lost I think it was his uncle on 9/11.
yeah, I mean, it's somber topic. It's unfortunately
Yeah.
my father went to a lot of wakes of guys he worked with, and
It's
I mean,
terrible.
different story for a different day.
Yeah.
But it is funny how you and I kind of go back and forth a
Yeah.
little bit like
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like we both see the greener. Like our journey is a little bit greener.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
hell, man. Sometimes with those contracting jobs, I felt like I was in the NFL making some practice squad money.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
some,
y'all can make more than that though.
yeah.
Tell
I
you.
mean, yeah.
Y'all,
On the contracts,
on
some
the
of them I did.
I'm telling you, this guy here was telling me some crazy stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
who. Um,
Some of my bosses when they were like, this is because I started contracting in 15.
mhm.
The guys who were there in like '03, like 30 grand a month, dude.
That's
Like,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, like dudes
What?
who can barely read, like running, like, but I don't. We'll probably get censored for saying this word than all the other stuff you said. But the guys who work for like Blackwater and whatnot, they were making between 20 and 30 grand a month.
No, no. That
Yeah,
sounds about right though.
yeah. I
I'll
mean,
tell you this guy I met, and he said, "You played sports?" I was like, "Yeah." Um, and he's like, he told me about these contracts he's been running. He's like, "Are you afraid to risk your life?" He's like, I can train you up, and you can make a lot. You can make a really good living." He's like, "But you can be traveling a lot." And I'm like, "Dude, I got two little kids at home. This and as
yeah,
much as I would love to do this, if I didn't have a wife and kids, it might be a different situation. But when you got a family at home, you know, it's no longer the old school sign up for the military to fight for your family's freedom, which I'm thankful for. Our ancestors that did. Um,
I mean, it's a different vibe, man.
it's a different vibe now, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, regardless of being in the military, but like,
it's so political now, right? It's like
well, not even that. I'm just saying when you do it for the like and I don't want to dive too deep into this, but like when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, like you were in Afghanistan. How long were you there for?" And I'm like, "I don't know, like 3 years plus or minus." And they're like, "Oh man, that's crazy. Thank you for your service." And I'm like, I mean, 2 of those years, 2 years plus, I just kind of went for the money, man. Like,
right,
it,
yeah.
I mean, so it's
Yeah.
like
Well,
when you do the
so
private side, it
yeah,
blurs things.
and that's true. And when I said that, what I meant was, so you know, 50 years ago or so, when we're fighting wars, we're actually, people are fighting. They're fighting for their family's safety, their freedoms, their rights, right?
Yeah,
But as I continue to educate myself on war as a whole, you start to open doors that of conspiracy and
yeah,
things that dive too deep. But that war a lot of times is for money, right? Especially
yeah,
nowadays, it's all politically over money, and so it that feel of me. I don't feel like I necessarily need to go fight a war to keep my family safe. I feel like I can sit in my home and I feel pretty safe from what my the forefather, everyone who fought before, our ancestors who fought to keep us safe right now. Like I
yeah.
so
I mean, we talked about it briefly. It's like
you know
you know offline, of course, but like, I mean, some of these people who are doing harm towards like Americans and whatnot, like, and this is going to the left or right real quick, so I'll segue back on after this. But I think I told you it's like the Taliban or like ISIS would give people like $20, go blow up this convoy, or else we kill all your family. And it's like, if you're negating that threat, did you really like air quotes stop like terrorism, or did you just like you know negate someone from existing who was just trying to keep their family safe? Like, it's not different than what like gangs do, in the United States. And like
I agree with
when
you.
you yeah, when you start getting these intel stories and
Look,
yeah,
I've
it hurts.
I don't know if anyone's like, I'm sure people have said this, but I've always kind of I felt like I know I didn't make it up personally, but I've been saying this for a long time that money is power and power is corruption.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
especially when there's no spiritual or godliness behind it. It becomes earthly, and
yeah.
earthly to me is just um, you know I'm feeding my flesh, not feeding my spirit, and um, things just go pretty dark pretty quick. So I'm not trying to get too political,
Yeah,
but
I like this conversation
yeah, yeah,
going pretty
right,
dark
right.
yeah. But
So
I mean, man, like, just to wrap it all up, like, I mean, like, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit, like, you've lived a lot of these guys' dreams, man. And I definitely don't think like anyone, especially you or some random troll on Twitter, should come at you in any way for your sports career. Like, you went to a great university, you got
yeah, I
two
mean,
two awesome kids. Your wife lets
look,
you talk to me all the time, so that she's got to be,
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
all right.
I'm pretty blessed, and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't let people look. unless you can fight me and beat me up, I don't do anything. No, but like no, but I mean, look, am I human? Am I when I was playing? Did I read stuff that bothered me a little bit? Yeah, of course, everyone did. But like, you learn to tune them out. Like these people are sheep, right? They're just sheep that are just trying to get your attention a lot of times. And I'm way past that where people don't give two craps about once you're out of the league or out of even having a shot, people just stop caring, stop looking. So I'm on to bigger and better things. And but yeah, I mean, people on Twitter, they can talk all they want. That's look, I've gotten political on Twitter, and then I'm sure there's a lot of people that hate me, and that's fine. You can hate me all you want, but I'm still going to keep my same opinions, and that's why I live in this. That's why I love my country, because you have every right to have your opinion, whatever it is. You can. So people hate on you for it, and that's where we're at today. So, um, but yeah, man.
Well, what are you doing now? Just a quick snippet before we get out of here, man. Let people know that you're still out there, doing some cool stuff.
So I got involved. I started a blockchain startup that I had. We partnered with Fractal, which is Justin Kahn, founder of Twitch's. His Justin Kahn is the founder of Twitch. He partnered with us, and ended up going kind of south with APIs, market, and everything.
Yeah.
Just honestly, I just kind of wanted to get out of blockchain. But it could have. I mean, honestly, it just had a lot of positives. Could have gone real well. But I definitely got a little startup experience in that. It really is. I got my tuition, right? That's how I look at it. Is you get your experience from trial and error. Like, I'm very entrepreneurial, where if you start something and you fail, that's fine. Just like football taught me, keep moving on, keep chopping wood, and something's gonna hit. And just a bunch of random stuff. From having a little family business to trying to raise capital for a family boutique resort in the Caribbean, to a buddy of mine starting a movie studio that I will eventually have a part in. It's more of here in Atlanta. He was able to raise the funds for it, so it's looking real positive. What started out as like a 5% chance and a dream is actually coming to life. So
Yeah.
quite cool. And then I just want to stabilize, man. I want to I got two little kids. I want to find something where I can learn and be around great people, and start working doing wholesale distribution with a solar company based out of Europe. We provide solar, like all solar products to installers in the United States. Pretty cool, like business to business sales. That's not really sales, not like hardcore sales. It's just like, look, we got products. If you want them, great. If you don't, awesome. And if they like you, you manage their account. It's a pretty cool job. I like it. It's just a lot of networking, a lot of connecting,
Yeah.
partnerships.
A lot of schmoozing, a
Uh,
lot of.
yeah, well, you know what though? It's really not though, because it's not like I said. It's not. How that world works with solar, it's funny because everyone's just super techie, right? They're all about
Yeah.
numbers. They're like, all right, so what's the margin on this? Like, how much am I saving? Like, it's worth so it's a little confusing, and I just figured it out, but recently was kind of educated on it. But how with solar, right? People are paying a certain like cent per watt. So like, for an example, average people are paying is like 30 or 50 cents per watt of which is confusing, of the solar system, of the solar panels they get. So there's like a margin, like we're wholesaling, so we might get buy a certain amount, and then there's a margin where we might sell and make 2 cents per watt, or off of um, off of this panel. So basically what I says, people are very techy, and they know specifically what they want, and if they can save money and I can save them money, they're going to go with you. And if they like you as a person, I guess you say schmoozing, yeah, respectful, polite. They want people they can work with, they
Yeah.
can trust, right? So I enjoy it, man. It's got that startup feel because they have a successful company in Europe, and they just branched out to the U.S. It's called Nano Sun. They just branched out to the U.S., and I'm like the third person they brought on. It's growing pretty quickly, and so God kind of gave me this little opportunity. So it's fun. It's fun, man. I found something I actually really like, and yeah, I got that entrepreneurial mind where I'm just kind of like, I like a little bit of everything, I
Yeah.
guess.
A lot of irons in the fire.
Right. So we'll see, man. You know, I just want to be a positive impact as much as I can to people. That's my biggest thing in life. Is like, what can I do to, right? You know, even though I mean, I sometimes have a mouth like a sailor and say things that I shouldn't, but I still believe in God, and you know, I want to be a positive impact for people, and you know, I want to try to help make a change in one way or another. You know, whether that's for mental health or mental illness. You know, people suffer, man, and I just want to help. I want to help as much as I can. So that's why I'm trying to use my sports platform and building blocks I learned to propel in the business world, and then you know, use that to help and give back and actually try to make a difference in this crazy world we live in. So
Yeah. Well, I think we've touched on it all, man. We've touched on the SEC. We've touched on the business of the NFL, all
mhm.
the jumping around, foreign policy,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
new tech and startup. So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we hit a lot of the key points. Not bad for only a half hour, right?
Has it been half an hour?
No, it's been an hour.
It's been it's
I was
funny. Me and
yeah
you, we just talk forever. I'm like, you get us in a room. Like, all
yeah.
right, man, we'll be a 20-minute meeting, like 2 hours later.
Oh no, we're screwed, man. I know. Well, guys, I don't want to take too much of Joey's time because he's on a different time zone than me. And shout out to his wife, that letting both of ours, letting us do this, be a bunch of
Yeah.
weirdos talking. This is like the adult version of Xbox Live. I feel like,
No, it is. Yeah. No,
yeah.
100%.
But
Oh,
Joey
bro, that's actually that would be that would be hilarious for a. We'll talk about this off live. You want
offline.
somebody taking the idea,
Oh
but you just give me an
yeah,
idea.
our next yeah, Joey and I are going into business apparently. Us
I
and
have a podcast idea.
yeah,
No.
this one, and then we're gonna bring in another guy who's gonna come on the pod. That I'm whatever. It's gonna yeah, and then I'm gonna be
Yeah.
at Chris Jones's Thanksgiving with Joey this year too. So
Chris is like, he's
well,
like,
thanks guys.
this is Chris. He's like, Joey, what the fuck are you doing here?
Hey man, I visited this random guy who slid into my DMs. He lives in Missouri, and we're showing up. Joe, you ever go to the Ozarks when you were in Missouri? By the way,
No, I didn't. But
uh,
after watching those arcs, I don't even want to go. But
it's
no, I know. I already know it's filmed on Lake Lanier in Georgia. And
yeah.
yeah, I had people ask me about that going out. I just never got a chance to go.
All right. Well, you come up here. We'll go to the Ozarks, and then you'll never want to go back. It's
Oh, because of how redneck it is.
it's no. It's Key West meets the Midwest, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No, it gets silly.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah,
It's
too
rowdy.
wild. But
Rowdy.
geez, we need to get off.
All right,
Talk
man.
about the next thing, guys.
Um,
Make sure that I'm gonna tag everything of Joey's in the links. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe as usual. All that tacky stuff, and then hopefully next time Joey and I are talking, we're in person, or you see us talking. I'm sure he'll call me 5 million times talk about random stuff, but we're doing this on his couch or something. So thanks, guys.
yeah. You say you having me.
Always, man.